That airplane isn't giving you any trouble, is it, Don?
No.
All right. President Kennedy will be making 2 more of those non-political political trips. He and Mrs. Kennedy will be doing some fence mending chores. Start it over. He and Mrs. Kennedy will be doing some fence mending chores in Texas.
This is Mayor Earl Cabell of Dallas, Texas, a town that's getting ready to... the city that's getting ready for the visit very shortly of the President of the United States. Your city encountered some rather unfortunate publicity here a month ago with the visit of Ambassador Stevenson.
Surely, my dear friend, I don't have to come here from Illinois to teach Texas manners, do I?
Outside the auditorium, one man spat on him, and a woman hit him with her placard.
We undoubtedly will have a few pickets, as you have everywhere in the United States. There will probably be a few of the radical right wing, possibly a few of the radical left wing. But sincerely, we anticipate no trouble.
Because of the unfortunate incident which occurred here during the visit of Ambassador Stevenson, people everywhere in the world will be hypercritical of our behavior. Nothing must occur that is disrespectful or degrading to the President of the United States. And the law enforcement agencies in this area are going to do everything within their power to ensure that no untoward accident or incident occurs.
Did you shake hands? Did you shake hands with the President?
Yes, sir.
What did you think of him?
Oh, I thought he was very distinguished. I think he's a wonderful man.
Go ahead.
I believe he is one of the second best presidents in the United States.
I came to see the President, and I said to the President, God bless you, and I met him. He's just like one of us.
First in news since 48.
WBAP, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Say When, sponsored by Reynolds Metals and Sterling Drugs, will not be seen today in order that we may bring you the presidential breakfast direct from the grand ballroom of the Hotel Texas in Fort Worth.
10-minute appearance at the parking lot across the street from the hotel, and he is on his way up. We expect him to walk through this door at any moment. When the President appeared out in the parking lot, he broke one of the cardinal rules of security. He went out into the crowd, and of course Secret Service men find this the most nervous time of any presidential appearance. As long as the Secret Service men can keep the crowd away from the President, they have a good chance of protecting him. Here comes the President.
Be seated, please.
The eyes of Texas are upon you all the livelong day. The eyes of Texas are upon you. You cannot get away. Do not think you can escape them at night or early in the morn. The eyes of Texas are upon you.
quite a few people in the ballroom are watching the maitre d'. He put a plate in front of Vice President Johnson. He put one in front of Kennedy, and so far there is no plate at the place of Mrs. Kennedy.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege to introduce or to present to you the distinguished Vice President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson. Now is an event that I know all of you have been waiting for. They know what I mean.
As you can tell from the reaction, that's Mrs. Kennedy coming in. She's been standing outside in the kitchen waiting for the introduction of the guests at the head table to be completed. For the ladies in the audience, she's wearing a pink outfit trimmed in black. If I knew more about it, I'd tell you the kind of material. It looks like a nubby material, wool of some type, and with the chilly weather outside today, this is probably very appropriate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present the President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 years ago I said that, introduced myself in Paris by saying that I was the man who had accompanied Mrs. Kennedy to Paris. I'm getting that same sensation as I travel around Texas. Nobody wonders what Lyndon and I wear, but we're... But this is a very dangerous and uncertain world. As I said earlier, on 3 occasions in the last 3 years, the United States has had a direct confrontation. No one can say when it will come again. No one expects that our life will be easy. Certainly not in this decade, and perhaps not in this century. But we should realize what a burden and responsibility the people of the United States have borne for so many years. Without the United States, South Vietnam would collapse overnight. Without the United States, there would be no NATO, and gradually Europe would drift into neutralism and indifference. Without the effort of the United States and the Alliance for Progress, the communist advance onto the mainland of South America would long ago have taken place. So this country, which desires only to be free, which desires to be secure, which desires to live at peace for 18 years under 3 different administrations, has borne more than its share of the burden. I don't think that we are fatigued or tired. We would like to live as we once lived, but history will not permit it. Communist balance of power is still strong. The balance of power is still on the side of freedom. We are still the keystone and the arch of freedom, and I think we will continue to do as we have done in our past, our duty. And the people of Texas will be in the lead. So I'm glad to come.
Mr. President, we know that you don't wear a hat. We couldn't let you leave Fort Worth without providing you with some protection against the rain.
it on in the White House on Monday. If you'll come up there, you'll have a chance to see it then.
And to protect you against local enemies in the manner that you are protecting this nation against our foreign enemies, and to keep the rattlesnakes on Vice President Johnson's ranch from striking you, we want to present this pair of boots. We won't ask you to put them on. Here.
Let us be in the spirit of prayer. The Lord bless our president and all in places of responsibility with wisdom and with health equal to their tasks. And now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace both now and forever. Amen.
This has been the presidential breakfast from the Hotel Texas in Fort Worth. Now the presidential party will leave Fort Worth, go to Dallas, where this afternoon he will address a crowd at the Trade Mart.
The arrival of President and Mrs. John Fitzgerald Kennedy from Carswell Air Force Base in Fort Worth. This crowd started gathering out here quite early this morning. I was out here at about 7:45, and already a few diehards had gathered early to ensure a good vantage point. Police were circling the field all morning long from the early morning hours, and a huge contingent of police are on hand. Some brilliant yellow roses, some brilliant red roses have been brought out and will be presented to the First Lady. Here comes the big jet in. Air Force number 1, ladies and gentlemen, carrying the President of the United States with the seal on the side. Beautiful sight, beautiful sight. And the crowd below cheering. There's Mrs. Kennedy, the crowd yells, and the President of the United States. And I can see his suntan all the way from here.
The president is up to the fence now, shaking hands with people, the president and his wife. This is great for the people and makes the eggshells even thinner for the Secret Service, whose job it is to guard the man. He's waving at a lot of people, smiling, Secret Service men all around. Boy, this is something. The president waves goodbye. Governor Conley standing in the car beaming, and back they go to the car. Head out for downtown Dallas, where thousands should already be on the street right now, waiting for a view of the president and his wife. It'll turn on Houston Street to Elm under the triple underpass, out to the Mart where the president talks.
The president and the first lady sitting in the back seat. As we said, the top is down. The motorcade will be moving slowly enough so that everyone along the route will have a good look at the chief executive. I'm trying to put the glasses right now, see who is in the front seat of the automobile, but the glare, it looks like Governor Conley and his wife. That's who it is.
Here comes the first car with Police Chief Judge Curry and Sheriff Bill Decker. And here is the President of the United States. And what a crowd, what a tremendous welcome he's getting now. There are people absolutely looking from every window here in downtown Dallas. They're going further down, and just about now, as we can see, far, far down Main Street towards Simmons Freeway, the motorcade is just about to reach the location of the county courthouse.
And now for the next 30 minutes, as the world turns. Brought to you by Instant Niagara and new Niagara Spray Starch, famous products of Best Foods.
Did you ask him why he invited her?
He said something about not wanting her to have Thanksgiving dinner alone. He didn't think it was right.
It was real nice of the boy.
And I thought about it, and I gave it a great deal of thought, Grandpa.
Here is a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting. Stay tuned to CBS News for further details.
It takes more than an instant to make a real cup of coffee. That's why Nescafe has come up with a new kind of coffee. It's more than an instant. It's new Minute Brew Nescafe.
Cars doing a spot from downtown area, code 3 to Elm and Houston. What's called?
I'm sitting here in Elm and Houston. I heard 3 loud shots seemingly from right over my head.
The area being completely roped off by Dallas Police, the K-9 unit here.
I searched through train cars and through the road yards, could find no one.
Attention all emergency equipment. Keep all traffic off of the emergency entrance to Parkland Hospital and all emergency equipment off of Industrial Boulevard. We have a man here setting a saw photo weapon back through the window off of the second floor on the southeast corner of that auditorium building. Yes, we're trying to seal off that building until it can be searched. Elman Field officers are now surrounding and searching the building 1240.
A small Negro boy and a white man said they had seen a man with a gun in the window of a building overlooking the route.
He's thought to be in this Texas school book depository.
Three bullet shots were heard to ring out. The president slumped into the lap of Mrs. Kennedy. Witnesses said they saw blood streaming from his head. Mrs. Kennedy was heard to say, "Oh, no."
The motorcade sped on toward the hospital. It took them perhaps 5 minutes to reach the ambulance entrance of the hospitals. Reporters there say the president was lying flat on his face in the car.
I am at the hospital now. The president was taken in a few minutes ago, lifted from the car, placed on a stretcher. He was motionless. The First Lady leaned over him, crying. Governor Connolly of Texas was also wounded. It's uncertain at this moment how seriously. There is no word yet as to Mr. Kennedy's condition.
What was a wonderful welcome in downtown Dallas has become a scene of indescribable horror. Faces are ashen white, and people are wondering, is our president going to live?
And what would any collection be without fake fur?
That's right. It is seen all over this year, and it's so smart. Yeah.
This is Little Red Riding Hood.
Boy, it certainly is, all bundled up and ready to go out in the hill. Then there's zippers up the side so that the jacket will fit tightly around the hips, keeping that straight, sleek look that it should have. And very often you'll find a zipper hidden in the arm.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You'll excuse the fact that I'm out of breath, but about 10 or 15 minutes ago, a tragic thing, from all indications at this point, has happened in the city of Dallas. Let me quote to you this. And you'll excuse me if I am out of breath. A bulletin. This is from the United Press, from Dallas. President Kennedy and Governor John Connolly have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas. They were riding in an open automobile when the shots were fired. The president, his limp body carried in the arms of his wife, Jacqueline, has rushed to Parkland Hospital. And if you'll excuse me if I give some directions and we talk about what we're going to do here for the next few minutes, but Bobby, let's tape this, if you please, particularly the interview with the eyewitness people. It is being taped good. And you will excuse me, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm so sorry because I know that you were so upset, but I would like to talk to you for a minute. It's a little bit awkward, so the camera shots will have to fall as they may. I'm going to stand right here, and maybe somebody can give me a chair while we're doing this. May I have your name, please, sir?
Bill Newman.
And this is Mrs. Newman?
Yes, sir.
And this is?
James Clayton.
James, and this is?
Billy.
Billy, tell me what you saw and what you felt. What happened to you?
We just come from left field after seeing the president and the first lady, and we were just in front of the triple underpass on Elm Street, and we were at the edge of the curve, getting ready to wave at the president. So
you were down under the viaduct, so to speak, weren't you?
Yeah, we were halfway in between
on the grass,
the triple underpass. We were at the curve when the incident happened. But The president's car was some 50 feet still yet.
In front of you?
In front of us coming towards us, and we heard the first shot, and the president, I don't know who was hit first, but the president jumped up in his seat, and I thought it scared him. I thought it was a firecracker, because he looked, fear. And then as the car got directly in front of us, well, a gunshot apparently from behind us hit the president in the side of the temple.
Do you think the first gunshot came from behind you, too?
I think it came from the same location, apparently back up on the hill. We didn't realize what happened until we seen the side of his head whenever the bullet hit him in the head.
Did you see the blood coming from the president's head?
Yes, sir, we seen that.
The First Lady is in the emergency room with the President, and the crowd outside is quiet and waiting for some word of the condition of the President.
A late bulletin. Representative Albert Thomas, the Democrat from Houston, Texas, says that he has been informed that President Kennedy and Governor Connally of Texas are still alive.
And now here is a report from Ron Cochran.
Thank you very much, Don. I have just returned from lunch where I was called and informed of the tragedy involving President Kennedy. I'm sure that millions of Americans... You can see there's a little confusion here in our studio. I have just returned from lunch. I was called at a restaurant here in New York, advised of the tragedy involving President Kennedy. He was, as you probably know by now, shot along with the governor of Texas in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas, by unknown assailants. So far as we know at the present time, they have not been captured.
Yes. Elman Houston Service 7 at the school book department.
Did they advise they had the suspect? No, they do not have the suspect.
Attention all squad. Attention all squad. The suspect in the shooting at Elman, Houston, is reported to be an unknown white male, approximately 30, slender build, height 5 feet 10 inches, weight 165 pounds, reported to be armed with what is thought to be a .30 caliber rifle. No further description at this time or information. 1245 kicking. You are in the open area, are you not? Live tonight. You will be at large for emergency to come in.
Excuse me 1 minute and let me... Quote, Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent, this is from the United Press. Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent assigned to Mrs. Kennedy, said he's dead as the president was lifted from the rear of the White House touring car. Mr. Kennedy was rushed to an emergency room, and I believe it's Parkland Hospital, is it, Jack?
President Kennedy is on the inside of Parkland Hospital, and 2 priests have just been sent in to the room with the president.
have word that an announcement has been made on the public address system at the trademark where the president was due to speak.
The announcement was made to the crowd just a few minutes ago as to what had transpired. As you can imagine, there are many stories that are coming in now as to the actual condition of the president. One is that he is dead. This cannot be confirmed. Another is that Governor Connolly is in the operating room. This we have not confirmed.
Of course, there's a great deal of rumor. Bill mentioned a great deal of rumor, as is understandable at a time like this. So we would hesitate to pass any of that along, but stick strictly with the facts as we get.
A flash from Dallas. 2 priests who were with President Kennedy say he is dead.
This is the latest information we have from Dallas. Of course, standing by to give you all available information as it comes to us. I will repeat with the greatest regret this flash.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States is dead. John F. Kennedy has died of the wounds received in an assassination in Dallas less than an hour ago. We repeat, it has just been announced that President Kennedy is dead.
The Associated Press quotes 2 priests who were with the president, stating that he died from the bullet wounds or wound inflicted upon him. The president was given the last rites of the Roman Catholic Church, and at about 1 o'clock assumed that it was a sniper who fired from a considerable
The president is dead.
Station WBAP-TV in Fort Worth, Dallas. For confirmation, we go to newsman Tom Murphy.
Substantiating this, but not confirming it, is a report about 5 minutes ago by the Dallas Police Department to all of its officers that the president had died.
Charles Murphy, returning now to NBC in New York.
What's your feeling right now?
I really couldn't say. Really, right now I just don't know what to do.
It's unbelievable.
Also in Washington.
I mean, who would want to shoot the president? What did he do? I mean, he's been doing so much for the country. Someone goes ahead and shoots him?
Instructed the Dallas office of the FBI to make an all-out investigation.
Incredible. All I can say.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt CBS momentarily for a local bulletin with Joe Scott.
Thank you. We're down here at the scene of the current manhunt of Elm and Houston Street. Jerry Hill with the Dallas Police Department just leaned out a window. Apparently they found some shells that are in that room.
The rifle believed to have been used in today's assassination was recovered from the 6th floor.
This police officer just shot. I think he's dead. Hey, Bob. Suspect running west on Jefferson, the location. Hey, Bob.
notify one that the officer involved in the shooting, which is Officer J.D. Tippett, announced DOA at Methodist 128. Well, any indication that it has any connection with this other shooting? Well, the descriptions on the suspects are similar. It is possible. Message for him. If we have information that a suspect just went in the Texas theater on West Jefferson Temple, supposed to be hiding in the balcony. Suspect on the shooting of police officer, he is apprehended. 10-4, Texas theater.
Dallas police have arrested a 30-year-old man who was found with a weapon in his possession. No other details are known at the moment, but a man has been arrested carrying a gun, and naturally the entire machinery of law and order in Dallas, both on the city, state, and federal level, have gone into action to try to apprehend the assassin and those who helped him. The bulletin is that a 30-year-old man has been arrested.
One might say at this point that it is very much to be hoped that this assassin, whoever he is not connected with any particular political group, a so-called hate group or otherwise. This will result in a very great rending of the political flesh of this country.
Is a member of the Secret Service.
Sorry to interrupt, Jim. We'll get back to this.
Fine.
We have a phone call from Bob Clark in Dallas. Back to Ron Cochran.
Stand by, please. Bob, stand by, please. We were having a little technical difficulty. All right, Bob, yes, we are on the air now, Bob. Would you give us a recap of all that you know, please?
Well, first, the president's body has just been taken to the Parkland Memorial Hospital. The body, in a sealed brown casket, was wheeled out of the emergency ward. Mrs. Kennedy walked quietly by the side of the casket as it was placed in an ambulance waiting outside the hospital.
The eyes of the nation and the hearts of the nation are with Mrs. Kennedy today, and the eyes of Dallas, Texas are held in shame.
Hello, I've got some dictation for you on the Kennedy story.
Yeah, where are you, Tom?
I'm in Dallas.
Yeah, okay, boy. Now take it easy.
Okay, this is Dallas, November 22nd. President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed here today, period. The president suffered a massive gunshot wound in the brain.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a press report over the wires that the President of the United States has been the victim of an assassination. We will play the funeral march from Beethoven's Third Symphony.
Let's turn the mic on. I can't hear you, Johnny. What do you want? Is this all right? A gentleman just walked in our studio that I am meeting for the first time as well as you. This is WFAA TV in Dallas, Texas. May I have your name, please, sir?
My name is Abraham Zapruder.
Mr. Zapruder?
Zapruder, yes, sir.
Zapruder. And would you tell us your story, please, sir?
I got out in, about a half hour earlier and get into a good spot to shoot some pictures. And I found a spot, one of these concrete blocks that I have down near that park near the underpass. And I got on top there. There was another girl from my office. She was right behind me. And as I was shooting, as the president was coming down from Houston Street making his turn, it was about halfway down there, I heard a shot. And he slumped to the side like this. Then I heard another shot or two. I couldn't say whether it was one or two. And I saw his head practically open up, all blood and everything. And I kept on shooting. That's about all. I'm just sick again.
I think that pretty well expresses the entire feelings of the whole world.
As the news of President Kennedy's death spread through the city, to those who hadn't heard it or had heard only the first fragmentary reports, even this street, which is normally so loud you can't hear yourself talking to another person, acquired a stillness that it's never known. Can you tell me what your first reaction was, ma'am?
We were all crying in my place, all crying.
You look as though you've been crying. Is that how it struck you first?
Yes.
How did you hear about it?
Well, we got radio in my place and they told us.
And did all of the people in the office cry?
Yes.
And how about you, sir? Have you had any... What are your first reactions to a tragedy of this sort?
My first reaction, sir, is that I hope these Southerners, these radicals, have satisfied they got their pound of flesh and killing a man as good as that.
Are you certain that it is right-wing radicals or people who oppose the president so desperately that they would do something like this, who committed this act?
Yes, sir. Could be no one else. Someone who do this must be mentally deranged. No clear-thinking human person would ever think of doing something like that.
How about you, sir? What was your first reaction?
Well, my first reaction was I was terribly shocked. I couldn't believe that it really happened. But I disagree with this man about it being a right-wing radical. It could have been communist, I think, probably something like that.
I think this has to be a planned conspiracy. This is the first time in our history when a rifle has been used and fired at a president of the United States. From the photographs of the building, that carry must have been a couple of 100 yards. And whoever fired it must have been a man that could handle a rifle. So that this must have been a very carefully planned conspiracy.
There are a great many reactions in Dallas now. The main thing that we're concerned with is the condition of Governor Connolly. We will have that word for you just as soon as possible. As we understand it, there is no word coming out of the hospital. There is no way that we can get any information for you.
Be about 15 minutes, Jay. Our cruiser is at the hospital entrance, and Connolly's doctor will come out in about 15 minutes to make a statement, give a report and a condition on the governor.
Very good. That's the latest word. That in 10 or 15 minutes we will have word for you. Right now, here is a picture of the man who allegedly shot the policeman.
More bulletins. Police today seized one man, Lee H. Oswald. He is identified as chairman of a Fair Play for Cuba committee and is regarded, at least as far as we know, as the prime suspect in the assassination of President Kennedy.
Give him a mic check, he says.
Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Is the tape rolling?
I want to say at the outset that the condition of the governor is quite satisfactory in view of the injury that he has sustained. We have no reason to believe that he won't completely recover without significant disability of any sort.
Now reporters who are standing here have asked for questions. Has it been definitely determined one bullet?
Really a reconstruction of what must have happened, but assuming, of course, that we know that the governor was in a sitting position. He was shot from above, and he was in a sitting position. So we feel that this is all one bullet.
This information, Police Captain Pat Ganaway today said a suspect held in the assassination, the picture you just saw here, was an employee of the building where a rifle was found. Ganaway also said the suspect had visited Russia and was married to a Russian. This is not immediately confirmed. The suspect's citizenship is not known. Ganaway said the suspect was the same man who shot and killed a city policeman in the Oak Cliff section of the city. And if so, those are the pictures we just saw, correct?
We sure hope so.
I haven't been outside of the building since about 10 minutes after this tragic event happened in the city of Dallas. I have talked to the newsmen, and they say the entire city the entire nation is stunned and shocked.
People are walking around the street in whispers and things like that. They don't talk loud. There's no screaming or hollering as you normally find in a city. Everybody is just absolutely stunned.
And how did you hear the news of the death of the president?
I was delivering cleaning to one of my customers when I heard the television say the president had been shot.
And where were you when you heard the news?
I was in the stock exchange.
I was working at the telephone company on the switchboard, and all of a sudden the lights...
Where were you when you heard the news about the president?
I was in a 13th floor Republic building.
I heard it at the West Side Mart. Home Furnishings Fair.
So right outside the information booth.
Yes, I heard it in school.
You were at work at the time?
Yes, I was at work at the time, so I couldn't believe it.
All over the world, people are going to remember all their lives what they were doing when they first heard that President Kennedy had been killed.
President Lyndon Johnson has arrived at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. This is film or tape of that arrival. It is live. It is live right now.
But now we're going through the sad moment of watching a turnover in government at the highest office. Former Vice President Lyndon Johnson, now the President of the United States, returns to Washington with the remains of his former chief executive. And now we can see what we believe to be a coffin containing the body of President Kennedy being moved from Air Force One onto a special enclosed ramp.
Behind it come Mrs. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. The one plane, Air Force One, carried the body, the new president, and the mourning wife.
I will do my best. That is all
I can do. I ask for your help and God.
Those words from the new President of the United States, Lyndon Baines Johnson.
The body of the late President John Fitzgerald Kennedy lies at the U.S. Naval Hospital at Bethesda, Maryland. The body will be taken back to the White House to lie in state at the White House tomorrow.
This is room 317, Homicide Bureau, here at the Dallas Police Station. As you see, they are bringing the weapon that was allegedly used in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy this afternoon at 12:30 here in Dallas. This is the weapon that was used. A rather well-worn military rifle with a scope. At what range would it be effective? That is a rifle. It was an Italian make, 6.65.5.
And what did he say? This was the gun. What did he say?
Here is the suspect. Will you roll it, please? The suspect is coming.
Back against the wall. All right, these people have given me a hearing without legal representation or anything.
Did you shoot the president?
I didn't shoot anybody, no, sir.
You just heard Oswald, who said he did not shoot anybody. I'm being pummeled here. Being pummeled very heavily. You just heard Oswald say, I did not shoot anybody.
Oswald, as we said, was local chairman of the pro-Castro Fair Play for Cuba Committee. He went to Russia in 1959, saying he was relinquishing his United States citizenship. He returned last year, complaining that he was disillusioned.
I just would have thought the man was a perfect gentleman. I really did while he was living here.
Was he here today?
Well, I didn't see him here today, but Mrs. Roberts said that he did come in and get a coat around 12, between 12 and 12:30.
Well, when I got the telephone call about Aunt Preston being killed, I walked over here and turned the television on, and the door opened, he come in a hurry. And I said, oh, you're in a hurry. He never reparted his lips and went to his room, got a short coat and put on, and went out and to the bus stop. And that's the last I saw of him.
Here comes a man again.
Here we go. One statement, please. I'd like some legal representation, but these police officers have not allowed me to have any. I don't know what this is all about.
Kill the president?
No, sir, I didn't. People keep asking me that. Sir?
Did you shoot the president?
I work in that building.
Were you in the building at the time?
Naturally, if I work in that building, yes, sir.
Back up, man. Did you shoot the president?
No, they're taking me in because of the fact that I lived in the Soviet Union. I'm just a patsy.
President?
The late President Kennedy had once discussed the question of possible assassination with CBS News correspondent Charles von Fremd. Here are correspondent von Fremd's recollections of that event.
A casual conversation with John Kennedy about 12,000 feet over the Great Plains in early July of 1960 came back to haunt me today. The senator, slapping his thigh in a characteristic gesture, said he thought the Secret Service, while a dedicated and competent organization, was really faced with an impossible responsibility. John Kennedy argued that any intelligent sharpshooter, however mad, could gun down the President of the United States if he wanted to badly enough and planned it carefully enough.
Please, sir. Well, let's go.
Let's keep it quiet. We'll all get it.
Hold it down.
Has the gentleman been identified?
Yes, sir. He's been identified for killing the officer.
Right. Has any identification been attempted for the killing of the president?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Here's Chief Curry.
This is the district attorney. Russ. What is he doing? The district attorney. Say this, that this investigation has been carried on jointly by the FBI, the Secret Service, the Rangers, and the Dallas Police Department. Captain Fritz has been in charge. Charges of murder have been accepted against him. Weapons,
Are you going to bring him out?
Can we get in a room where you get a picture of him?
Can we get a press conference where he can stand against the wall?
That's all.
Just wait.
I don't know where he
is.
Huh?
Where is he?
Mr. Wade, we have him here. Mr. Wade?
Yes, sir.
Do you expect a confession from this man?
No.
We're
going to get in a larger room here. That's what we're talking about here.
What about the assembly room right around here?
All right, let's go down. Let's go down there where the...
Thank you.
Down the assembly room. Will the prisoner be brought out now? Bring the leather bag in there.
The suspect is coming down the aisle and into identification room. So far we won't be able to pick him up until he's been brought in front of our cameras. There he is, a slight fellow with some scratches.
I positively know nothing about this situation here. I would like to have legal representation. Well, I was questioned by a judge. However, I protested at that time that I was not allowed legal representation. But during that very short and sweet hearing, I really don't know what the situation is about. Nobody has told me anything except that I'm accused of murdering a policeman. I know nothing more than that, and I do request someone to come forward to give me a legal assistance.
Did you kill the president?
No, I've not been charged with that. In fact, nobody has said that to me yet. The first thing I heard about it was when the newspaper reporters in the hall asked me that question.
You have been.
Nobody said what?
Sir?
You have been.
Nobody said what? Okay, we can't hear you then. Okay.
What did you do in Russia?
Oswald,
how did you hurt your eyes?
A policeman hit me.
That was Oswald. Lee Oswald, who was charged with the murder of the President of the United States, so he said he did not know him.
He's been charged with both killing Officer Tippin and John F. Kennedy.
What was his motive?
He didn't give any motive since he denies them both.
Does he appear sane to you?
Yes, he does.
Is he a member of any Communist Front organization?
Well, the only one I mentioned was the Free Cuba movement, or whatever that. Fair play for Cuba, I believe was that.
Do you have any evidence that anyone is behind him, any organization or group?
No, sir.
And this has been November 22nd and now November 23rd. These are two momentous days.
You were here and in the motorcade as it left Love Field. Could you describe to us what happened?
Yes, I believe we have some more film coming up of the start of the motorcade from the airport, the rather long journey down into downtown Dallas. This was a gay scene throughout the entire distance.
There's very little more we can say. In a manner of speaking, perhaps John F. Kennedy has come home. I think one of the things that might be appropriate at this time, he liked to quote from Robert Frost many times on the campaign, but one of the president's favorite quotations, and I believe it went something like this: "I have promises to keep and many miles to go before I sleep." And with that, this is Sid Davis reporting from the White House.
Good morning, I'm Mike Wallace. CBS News with this special program now begins its second day of reporting the events following the death of President Kennedy.
A bright yellow sun arose over the city of Dallas this morning, but it greeted a different Dallas than was yesterday morning. Oswald has admitted nothing. Oswald's Russian-born wife appeared at the police station during the night carrying a small child. Oswald married her in the late 1950s when he was in Russia trying to renounce his American citizenship. Mrs. Oswald, who speaks only limited English, seemed stunned by all that was happening to her and her husband. Police said she told them that her husband owned a gun matching the description of the one believed used in the assassination of the president. Secretary Rusk heard that in Dallas, the police wanted to tie the president's assassination to a, quote, plot of international communism. That idea was scotched, killed immediately. It is not known whether the order to drop this phrase from Oswald's indictment came from Washington. It may have, but that's not clear.
What are you waiting for now, Chief, in terms of further interrogation?
Well, we just want to talk to him some more.
When will you do that?
I imagine in a few minutes.
How would you describe his mood during the questioning?
Very arrogant. Has been all along.
What does he say, Chief?
He just denies everything.
Is there any doubt in your mind, Chief, that Oswald is the man who killed the president?
I think this is the man that killed the president. Yes, sir.
Now, you're going to bring him down here.
Dallas Police Chief Jess Curry, questioned by hundreds of newsmen who are now assembled here at the
She was
station.
going to get him an attorney.
Through this
They
door,
told her, no, I don't
he's
have
going
attorney.
to be questioned by Dallas homicide officers.
Is there any subversive background? Was there any...
I'm sorry, there's too many talking. I can't understand.
This man's apparent subversive background, was there any surveillance? Were police aware of his presence in Dallas?
We in the police department here did not know he was in Dallas. I understand the FBI did know that he was in Dallas.
Chief, do you...
Normally,
Chief,
practice for the FBI to inform the police, municipal
Yes.
police department.
Chief, do you have...
We did not have...
But you were not informed.
We had not been informed of this man.
And now the police chief in Dallas says that he was informed by the FBI last night that they interrogated Oswald 2 weeks ago in Dallas, but he does not know the results of that interrogation, why it was ordered, or neither was he advised that the interrogation had taken place until last night.
Captain King, are you in the process then of interrogating every person who is listed on the Dallas Police Department's subversive list?
I don't think that it's gone quite to this extent yet. I don't think we are at the present time interrogating all persons who might be on a subversive list.
Did you take...
if there's any indication of a necessity for it, certainly we're not going to pass up any.
Did you give special consideration to the persons on your subversive list before the president came to town, to know where they were, what they were doing?
Yes.
Then if the FBI had known about him ahead of time and had informed your office, you would have checked up on Oswald as well?
I'd rather not speculate on what might have happened if something else had happened. I don't know.
Well, we've been given information earlier today, and the FBI did know he was here and had interviewed him within the last couple or 3 weeks.
On this, I have no information.
Thank you, Captain.
Charlie.
There has been some information that has gone out. I want to correct anything that might have been misinterpreted or misunderstood, and that is regarding information that the FBI might have had about this man. I do not know if and when the FBI has interviewed this man. The FBI is under no obligation to come to us with any information concerning anyone.
Chief, just
and
to make
I
this...
do not know if and when they have ever interviewed this man.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks very much. That was
Jesse Curry.
Chief Jesse Curry, a report that had gotten out that the FBI had interrogated.
Something's happening.
Here's the wife and mother.
The mother, as you can see, is a gray-haired woman. The wife is petite and rather attractive.
At the moment, we don't know what will happen next, but we believe this will be the scene of activity right at this point.
Now back to Walter Cronkite in New York.
This is Chief Fritz of the Homicide Squad.
There's only one thing that I can tell you without going into the evidence. Before first talking to the district attorney, I can tell you that this case is cinched.
This is a test level. Lee Harold Oswald is now... Easy does it. Easy, easy. He's going into the show-up room, Lieutenant?
Yeah, he'd be coming through here.
Will we be able to go in the show-up room?
Yeah, you go right around the... You have to go around.
They're going to put him in there.
Yeah.
I've been photographed the last thing in a t-shirt. I've been photographed in a t-shirt. Now they're taking me one line. These men have to be able
He's now
to
moving
take out.
into the show-up room, and we'll be moving our cameras around there at present. Lee Harold Oswald, who just came through the police jail office here, and will now be taken to the police show-up room, and our cameras are being moved there now. Dolly it out.
Let me... Come on.
Can you get it out? Follow me.
What a time for that thing to go out.
Jeff, can you kick that table?
Well, God,
Can you hear my audio? If you can, he's been moved into the assembly room. However, we don't... No, they will not let us in.
Traffic exceptionally heavy around this intersection, as literally thousands of people today have been interested in just driving by to see the spot where the president was killed. Directly across the street from the building from which the shot was fired, out in a park which is in somewhat the middle of a freeway cloverleaf, is a mourning wreath which was placed there early this morning to mark the approximate spot where President Kennedy was assassinated.
Foreign reaction, of course, has been one of shock and regret, as we have reported from time to time as these reports have come in. In London, the great tenor bell of Westminster Abbey has been pealing out every minute, a mark of respect which is generally reserved only for members of the royal family. In France, flags at the Élysée Palace flown at half-staff. Normally, flags are not lowered in France until the day of the funeral. This is an unusual token of esteem there. In West Berlin, the city government ordered official mourning until Tuesday. In Italy, all theaters are going to close on Monday. In the Middle East, the Shah of Iran has ordered all flags flown at half-staff there. In Iraq, 3 days of national mourning. In Jordan, King Hussein has ordered the royal court to go into mourning for 3 days. So the stories go from South America, from Asia, from Africa.
When Kennedy was elected 3 years ago, it was as if we'd all been given some gigantic, miraculous present. Suddenly, over there in Washington, was this amazing man who seemed so utterly right for the job in every way that we took him completely for granted. Whenever we thought about the world, we had that warm image at the back of our minds of a man who would keep everything on the rails. Now suddenly that present has been taken away from us when we thought we had still 5 more years before we need to start worrying again.
A young man rode with his head held high under the Texas sun, and no one guessed that a man so blessed would perish by the gun. Lord, his soul goes riding on.
President Johnson today designated Monday, the day of the funeral for the late President Kennedy, as a day of national mourning. Said the new president, I invite the people of the world who share our grief to join us in this
day of mourning and rededication. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the United States of America to be affixed. Done at the city of Washington, this the 23rd day of November, in the year of our Lord 1963, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 188th.
A poignant note about President Kennedy's beloved son, John Jr., who he called John. He'll be 3 years old on Monday, the day of his father's funeral. It's reported that the little boy walked through the White House corridors today complaining, "I don't have anyone to play with."
Here he is, Lee Oswald on his way.
For the second time.
What do you have against clothing? That's Lee Harvey Oswald. His back is to you. You can't quite see him. His face is still...
The basic fundamental hygienic rights, I mean, like the shower and the clothing.
That's Lee Oswald for the second time today, being taken in for questioning into the Homicide Bureau of the Detective Division here. He said something.
Here it is.
The FBI has just informed us that they have the order letter for the rifle, and the handwriting is the same on the order letter as Oswald's handwriting.
Just a moment ago, he came out into the interrogation room bitterly complaining about being deprived of his citizenship rights because he can't take a shower. Do you have any comment on that?
I didn't know he had asked to take a shower. We have a shower up there where he could take a shower if he wants it. That's all I have to tell you.
Thank you very much. Chief Curry, who just disappeared inside the interrogation room, has confirmed. Police have checked both the purchase of the rifle and the pistol to Chicago, both purchases having been made by the suspect. He doesn't want to disclose what the ballistics tests have showed so far, or whether to say these tests are completed. But ownership of the 2 weapons have been definitely traced to Oswald. Now back to WFAA. Here comes Oswald down the hall again.
Did you buy that rifle? What dispatches you people have been given, but I emphatically deny these charges.
Oswald has hustled through a doorway. He says he has nothing against
Said from the door that he has nothing against anybody, that he's committed no act of violence. That was Lee Oswald.
we plan to transfer this man not tonight. If you men will be here by no later than 10 o'clock in the morning, why, that will be early enough for you.
Chief, do you have any concern for the safety of your prisoner in view of the high feeling among the people of Dallas over the assassination of the president?
No, but necessary precautions will be taken, of course, but I'm not, I don't think that the people will try to take the prisoner away from us.
This is how things stand at this hour. In Washington, it is not long until the time for the transfer of the body of President Kennedy from its repose at the White House to the rotunda of the Capitol, where it will lie in state.
And here at the Capitol Plaza, the crowd continues to swell. People pouring in from all sides of this historic spot, pouring in from the side of the Senate office buildings, pouring in from the side of the United States Supreme Court, pouring in from the Library of Congress side.
In Dallas, Lee Oswald, the man accused of the assassination of the president, is to be moved from one jail to another.
Behind me is the building from which the shots were fired that killed the President of the United States. This building, located at Elm and Houston Streets, is actually only a half block away from the county courthouse, where Lee Harvey Oswald is going to be transferred.
Since early morning, a small crowd of people has been gathered across the street from the White House, standing silently, staring, paying quiet respects.
Outside in front of the county jail, crowds have gathered all day long, hoping for a glimpse of the man accused of firing the shot.
And we're standing by awaiting the transfer of Oswald from city jail to county jail. Bill, what's the situation?
Well, I am presently in the basement of the Dallas Municipal Building, and it is like an armed camp. For the past half hour, scores of police have been filing past me, carrying riot guns and rifles. Police officials are frankly worried. They don't want anything to happen to Oswald. They firmly believe that he is the man who killed the president. They want to make sure he is safely transferred to the county jail and that he does stand trial and is convicted.
Chief, did those threats on the prisoner's life, did they come in right through the police switchboard?
Yes.
Do you have any details at all on them?
No.
That cortege will depart the White House grounds at 1 p.m. and move up Pennsylvania Avenue, up the same route that a vigorous, young, enthusiastic president took just 34 months ago to his inauguration.
Extreme precautions have been taken. As I said before, the police are worried. They are so worried they've talked about the possibility of moving him in an armored vehicle.
The casket will be placed on a wooden bier, a catafalque, which was originally used to bear the body of Abraham Lincoln.
And here the anticipation grows as literally hundreds of police officers have ringed the...
Chief, could you go into, if you would, just a little bit about this, the possibility that somebody else might be involved in this? We've had statements in the last couple of days saying this is the man and nobody else. Now,
this is the man we are sure that murdered the patrolman and and assassinated the president. But to say that there was no other person had any knowledge of this, of what this man might do, I wouldn't make that statement. Well, because there's a possibility that there are people who might have known this man's thoughts and what he could do or what he might do.
He's expected down any moment.
There will be a 21-gun salute, 4 ruffles and flourishes. Hail to the chief and a hymn.
And if you'll roll, I'll start narration. Here comes the truck. Now, this is the armored truck that will carry Lee Harold Oswald from the basement here of Dallas Police Headquarters.
Yeah, he's got to be. There he is. There he is. Here he comes.
Now the prisoner wearing the black sweater has changed from his t-shirt. Looks like he is no longer.
There is Lee Oswald. He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot. There's a man with a gun. It's absolute panic. Absolute panic here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters. Detectives have their guns drawn. Oswald has been shot. There is no question about it. Oswald has been shot. Pandemonium has broken loose here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters.
Has been shot.
I'm going outside.
Is someone down on the floor over there? Is there someone injured down on the floor?
Now,
a detective put his hand up on his forehead, shaking it all. No, this has happened.
I saw him there. He was in the group of men right here.
Masquerading as one of us or what?
I thought he was one of the detectives. You know, he had a hat and Stucky was well dressed. That's what I remember.
all right, now that's the situation here at Dallas Police Headquarters in the basement. We're in this story which has been so unreal from the very beginning.
The man who saw the shot fired said it was fired by a man wearing a black hat.
What? What is? Is this definite?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. We saw a man lunge for a...
Here comes the ambulance. The ambulance is being pulled up in front of us here.
It is almost unbelievable. Fired, one shot, almost.
Here, someone has...
Please, get back. Back. Okay.
Pat, can you move? Don't get drunk, camera. Pat, move just a little to your left.
We can see now that police are hemming off newsmen in the basement of Dallas City Hall, hemming them off.
The only word so far is that the shot came from a man wearing a black hat and a coat. Here comes Oswald. He is ashen and unconscious at this time, now being moved in. He's not moving. He's in the police are quickly climbing in. They're now having to remove the armored truck.
Captain, where will he be? This is the armored truck on the outside of the Dallas Police Department. It's being moved out onto Commerce Street, and now the ambulance is coming out. The ambulance with Lee Harvey Oswald, who was shot just a few minutes ago. The ambulance is leaving Dallas Police Headquarters. Dallas Police say they do have a man.
Yeah, and the report is also that it's a man in a black hat. That's all the information we have. Black hat? Black hat.
This sad day is a beautiful day here in Washington. Bright, sunshiny.
He had a wound in his lower left abdomen.
He was unconscious inside?
Yes, he was.
Does he look like he's dying?
I wouldn't want to say.
Who shot him?
Man in a black hat.
Huh?
Man in a black hat. A police officer.
Catch him? Well, oh, a police officer shot him.
No, a man in a black hat shot him. Here outside of the courthouse, this crowd, when word flashed through the crowd that Oswald had been shot, broke out into a cheer.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy, 35th President of the United States, leaving the White House for the last time.
What's your reaction to hearing that suspect Oswald has been shot down?
Well, I think he should have been tried, but people sometimes take the law in their own hands on a thing like this.
I think he got what he deserved if he's the one that did it.
As you can see, a crowd genuinely not very sorry that Oswald has been the victim of an assassin himself. The scene here of anticipation has quieted now, and the scene is much different.